We'll do now in Maimori Melukat in Chele Gimel. This is the 52nd Maimer, the Maimer Roni V'simchi Bas Sion, which the Rebbe said in Shabbos Parshas Baha'aloischa on Tes Simon Tovshin Chov Zayin. And it says in the note over here that this was published later on in the Kuntras, the booklet of Tezvov Simon Tovshin Nun, and this is to the day for the Tezvov Sivan, which was the beginning of the incarceration of the Friedrich Rebbe in the year Tov Reish Pei Zayin, which is Gimel Baha'aloischa Yud Beis Sivan Shnas Tovshin Nun. And there's a star over here which tells us that and the date that it was published is Gimel Baha'aloischa Yud Beis Sivan Shnas Hei Tovshin Nun. The Rebbe there's a star here that says that if you look later on Amid Shinayin Aleph and Arif 40, that's later on in the Sefer HaMamorim, the Sefer, that after the Geula of Yud Beis Tammuz, it was revealed that the incarceration that took place on Tezvav Sivan, which originally was something terrible, was actually the Zriya. It was a sowing, so that through that it will grow with tremendous amount of increase and much, and add in Hafotzas Hamayonis in spreading the well springs. Okay, so let's do now the Maimer inside. Roni v'simchi bas Sion. So this is a posik which is in Zechariah Beis Yudalet, which is the beginning of the Haftorah of Shabbos Parshas Baha'aloischa. And actually, we also read this on the second Shabbos Chanukah. When there is two Shabbos Chanukah. Medayik Admur Hazokim b'Torah Oir. The Alter Rebbe in Torah Oir, in the Drusha Chanukah, Dibra Maschil said that opens with the same opening of Roni v'simchi bas Sion. The L'ch'oire hoyotzorich lahaschil ha'haftoira. The Shabbos Chanukah, it would seem that the haftoira of Shabbos Chanukah, that's the question in Torah, should have started b'posuk with the verse in Zechariah Peirik Dalet Posuk Beis, verses starting now with Posuk Peirik Beis Posuk Yudalet. Why? Because over there it says Vayomer Elai Goimer, and he says to me, saying Ra'isi v'hine Menayda Zohav Goimer. He saw the Menayda Zohav because the association to Chanukah is the vision that he saw the golden Menayda. The Roni v'simchi bas Sion in the initial psukim have no really association, would seem, to Chanukah. So why in Chanukah do we start with the psukim of Roni v'simchi? We don't go straight to the pasuk of Yomer Elai Re'isi v'hinei Menayda Zohav Gomer. V'lomo maschilim b'Roni v'simchi bas Sion. Why do we start with Roni v'simchi bas Sion? The Alter Rebbe explains in Torah Eir, that what's the connection of Roni and Simchi? The song and the joy of Bas Sion. Why does it relate specifically to Chanukah? Ki Bas Sion, because when we say the daughter of Sion, Koi al Knesset Yisrael is Man Hagolus. This is going upon the Knesset Yisrael, the gathering of Yidden during the time of exile. That is when they are called Bas Sion. The Bisman Habayis, during the time of the Mesa Migdosh, Nikras Knesset Yisrael B'Shem Sion. Then the gathering of Yidden, the Jewish people in general, are referred to by the name of Sion. But Bisman HaGolus, in the time of Golus, Nikras Bas Sion, the daughter of Sion. Baruch, as the Alter Rebbe explains Baruch, but that is as it's explained with regards to the parsha, to the Kriyas HaTorah, to the Haftorah from Shabbos Chanukah. But we have the same little question with regards to Baha'aloscha when we read also Roni v'Simchi. Over there too, the reason it's connected to the pasuk V'hinei Menorah Zohav. So why do we start Roni v'Simchi? B'tzorich L'havin, but we need to understand the question that we asked, that we were presented before from the Torah that we start after with Roni Simchi Basin and not with the pasuk Menorah Zohav. So that same question, the Shabbos Parshas Baha'aloscha, it's also in the Haftorah of the Shabbos Parshas Baha'aloscha. Shebismichas Lizman Matan Torah Baha'aloscha is close to the time of Matan Torah to Shavuos. The Matan Torah who inyan Chedus. Matan Torah is the idea opposite of Golus. Matan Torah is Chedus. The Torah brings about Chedus. Or Chorus Alaluchas, Hatikra Chorus Alo Chedus Minamalchias, as the Rebbe brings in the Horror 5. So the question is, V'achal Pikein. So Meila, by Chanukah, you say we're in Golus, and Chanukah, Akati Abde Dachashvedish, now we're in Golus. So we say Bastian. But why would we say Bastian after Matan Torah, in which we experience Chedus? Hatikra Chorus Alaluchas Alo Chedus. And still, Gam has Cholas Haftorah the Shabbos Parshas Baha'aloscha. Also, the beginning of the Haftorah of Shabbos Parshas Baha'aloscha, Hironi v'Simchi Bastian. It starts with Bastian and not with Sion. So this needs to be answered because the Torah only answers with regards to Chanukah. But what are we going to answer about Baha'aloscha Haftorah, which comes after Shavuos, after Matan Torah, which is Ches? Ois Beis. The Torah Shom B'dibur Hamaschel Roni v'Simcha Harishon. In Torah, in the first Maimer Roni v'Simcha, the Kasher HaPosik Roni v'Simcha Bas Sion. Over there, he ties the posik of Roni v'Simcha Bas Sion in Maimer HaMedrash with the saying of the Medrash. It says Al HaPosik. The posik says Tzeno Re'eno B'nois Sion. So he says, go out and look, the Benois Sion. So the Benois Sion, they're called daughter of Sion, as here as Bastian, Benois Sion. And they should look by Melech Shloime, Ba'atora Sha'otra Loi Imoi, in the crown that his mother crowned him. So the Medrash says that both the Benois Sion and Imoi are both referring to an additional level of love. As the Medrash says, it brings down Moshe Melech Hulo. It's an example for a king. He had a very special daughter, Loizos Mechaveva. So he didn't move from his love and dearness to her. Achakorabiti, he called her my daughter. Hulu. Loizos Mechaveva, then he didn't move from holding even more dear expression his love for her. He called her my sister. He didn't move from holding her dear until he calls her mama. He calls her my mother. He calls her my daughter, my sister, and my mother. And he explains over there in the Maimer, the first Maimer on the Gimel in Yonim Elu, these three aspects: Bit, my daughter, my sister, my mother. How is it translated in the service of man? Heim kiyum hamitzvahs. That's the observance of the mitzvahs. That's the first level. Then you have Esek HaTorah, the occupation in Torah. That's the second level. And then V'havoida, the Mesiras Nefesh. Then you have the third level, is the service of self-sacrifice. And explains the B'kiyum HaMitzvahs, when you do mitzvahs, when you observe the mitzvahs, Ha'odom HaMekayim Es HaMitzvah, the person who fulfills the mitzvah, he is a recipient, level of bas. Shehu mekabel, he receives esa hamshocher shenimshechas al dekim mitzvah. He is the recipient of the hamshocher that extends to him through the observance of the mitzvah. He's like a daughter, he's a bas. But through learning Torah, Nasim Yisrael Achim Vereim LaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Yidden become like brothers and friends to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They become like Achosi. Through the highest level, through the levels of Mesiras Nefesh, Nikras B'Shem Imi. Then you're called my mother. Shehem Mashpim Kaviyochel B'Kadosh Baruch Hu. So that they, so to speak, are the ones that are mashpia in the Eibishter. So they became ima, they became mashpia through avodah mesiras nefesh. Yes, lekasher zeim hamevur become a mekoimes. So we can connect this with that which is explained in many places. Al haposig ba'torah she'otra lo imay, on the crown that his mother crowned him. The ha'torah she'otra knesses Yisrael imay la'kadosh baruch hu. That what is the crown that the imay, that the knesses Yisrael were called imay, crowned, that the knesses Yisrael crowned imay to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who al yidei sheikdimu nasa lenishma. That is through introducing nasa for nishma. That is the level of bittul of mesiras nefesh. We're saying because shem imi. So that's connected to a Torah that comes through ikdimu nasa lenishma. Ka bittul da agdomas nasa lenishma u ka bittul di mesiras nefesh. Because that self-negation, that level of which we have when you introduce Nasa before you say Nishma, is similar to the bittul of Mesiras Nefesh, the third level that brings you Imi. So that's why this is the Atorah, this is the crown, this is the third level, that's the Imi level. Sha'otra loy Imay, the mother, because that's the level of Mesiras Nefesh. Yeshloimar, we can say the Mahataimim Shekoirim Parshas Baha'alotcha Saneris Lachri Chag HaShavuos. What are some of the reasons why we read the portion of Baha'alotcha as Saneris after the Yom Tov Shavuos? Who Kineira is Koyal Neshamas Yisrael. Neiris refers to the souls of Yid. The lamp of Hashem is the soul of man. So that's the lamp. Neiris is the lamps, that's the Shamas Yisrael. The Pirush Neir Havaya, what does it mean, a Neir of Havaya? Hushan Neshama Me'irak Mashpas Kavayochol Havaya. It's a Neir Havaya, it's a Neir for Havaya. So to speak, as if to say that the Neshama shines, is Mashpia, so to speak, Lavaya. Okay, the Isa b'Medrash, as we find in the Medrash, ala posik ba'aloischa saneris, it says ba'aloischa saneris, she Yisrael me'idin l'misha me'er l'choloilam, that the Yidden shine to one who shines the whole world. So kaviyachol to Hashem, they are meir over here. The inyan zeh, and this idea of the neiris, of shining, and this higher level, Shaykh Chag HaShavuos, that is related, connected to the Yom Tov Shavuos. Why? It's a Torah she'otra loy imay. So we say b'yom chasanoso, b'yom simchas libo matan Torah. It's shayches to the Chag HaShavuos because that is when he gave the Eibishter, the Torah, the imay. Knesset gave the Torah to Hashem. That level of Neir shining and bringing to Hashem hashpah, so to speak, from the neshama. That's the Neir Havaya, the Neir to Havaya. So this is all the greatest levels of Parshas Baha'alotcha. It comes after Shavuos. It's shining the Neiris to Havaya. and it's connected to the Torah, to Mesiras Nefesh. These are all very powerful stuff after Shavuos and Baha'alotcha. And here we're saying Roni v'simchi bas Sion. So based on this, we need to understand even more. Masha ha'Torah, the Shabbos Parshas Baha'alotcha Sanedos Inyan Imi. Why is it that the Shabbos Parshas Baha'alotcha Sanedos, which is the idea of Imi, the mashpia into the level of Imi, Kaviyachol the Neir Havaya. So why do we say Roni v'simchi bas Sion? Bas Sion is a chasimen that it's not in the level of Tzin, it's only in the level of Bas, level of Golus. Why would we say Bas Sion? In the Haftorah of Baha'alotcha. Well, Inyan Gimel. Well, Inyan who the idea is Sham Shocha Shal Yidei Kiyum HaMitzvos. That Hamshocha, what we draw down through our observance of the mitzvahs, which is the level of biti, he hamshocha nailis yoser meha hamshocha shal yidei ha'avodah da'chois v'ima. It's a greater, a more elevated hamshocha than through the avodah of achois v'ima. That's even greater. Ki ha'avodah de mesiras nefesh imi, because when we talk about the avodah of mesiras nefesh, which is the level of imi, similar when we talk about Isakatayra, which is Achoisi. Mekivon shehi avodah ruchnis, since it is a spiritual service. Yesh lo shaychus lahamshochas shel al yod. It has a connection to that hamshocha that it brings down. The hamshocha that it brings down has a connection. Mekivon shehamshocha shal yidei havodah da'choisi v'imi. So since the hamshocha, which is through the service of Achoisi v'imi, which is Mesiras Nefesh, Eisek HaTorah, Hikimo Yisaruso de Le'elo. It is similar to an arousal of above, Shemisoireres v'nimshechas al-dei Yisaruso de Le'tate, which is aroused and it extends, it's drawn down through Yisaruso de Le'tate because there is a relationship. It's spirituality. And the spirituality connects with the higher level. So, because of that, hamshocha hirak mimokim she'isarusa delatata magas l'sham. So, where it comes down is only from the place where the isarusa delatata can reach. But v'hamshocha shal yidei ma'isa mitzvahs hamshocha, which comes through the act of mitzvahs. Doing the mitzvah is a physical act, which has no comparison to the hamshocha. What comes from it, it is not comparable at all. That is sort of an arousal from above that comes by itself because the physicality cannot really initiate anything. That's why what comes down is from the essence of the Ein Sof. Roni v'simchi bas Tzia. Because I'm coming and I will dwell amongst you. Because it says, Hineni bo, I come. That includes two matters, two aspects. Hineni mucham na'atzmi shelo yal yidei asirusa dilatata. Hineni, meaning I am ready, I'm prepared. Hineni, I'm here. I'm ready without isirusa dilatata. The second part, hineni bo, the level of bo. Bo means ani ba'atzmi kavayochel oirin sof baruch hu mamish. This is the essence, so to speak. The Ein Sof Baruch Hu Mamash comes down from the level of mitzvah, that Roni v'simchi bas Sion, that on its own it's like Yisarusa Dili. Elo, that does not come from Yisarusa Dili Tata, but it gets the Ein Sof Baruch Hu Mamash. Yesh lahoisif, and we can add Shamay la davoida debiti al havoida dachoisi v'imi. that the advantage of the service of Biti, my daughter, over the avodah v'chesvimi, gam b'negei la'odam ha'ived, it is also as it relates to the person that serves, not only with regards where the hamshacha comes from, that the hamshacha of Biti brings from Atzmus Ein Sof, as opposed to the hamshacha that takes place from Imi and Achaisi, but it's also as it relates to the person that serves. The person is on a greater maila through the avodah Biti. When you're serving in a way of my sister, my mother, nirgash bedakus mitziusei shel ha'odam ha'ovid. So, but there you can feel in a refined way, but you see the entity, the existence of the person is still a mitzias that serves. The great advantage of his service. The avodah atzma, when we talk about Torah, the greatness of avodah itself, avodah the esika Torah. So there is you can see this is a great advantage. It's Mikolshkein avodah the Mesiras Nefesh, and of course when we talk about Mesiras Nefesh, and you can see what happens. He becomes through his avodah. He become a brother to Hashem. You say to him, more than even a brother, you become imi. So to speak, you are mashpia b'Kadosh Baruch. But when we talk about the level of the biti, which is kima mitzvahs, the observant mitzvahs, then is nirgash habitl shaloi. Then it's felt his lack of entity, his effacement, his self-negation. Whether it is with regards to the actual service itself. That he's only doing it not for he's not a Metzias, he's just doing it to fulfill the mitzvah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And also what he accomplishes, he only is a biti, and also what it brings down to the Avodah. We said he brings down Atzmos even higher. This that through fulfillment of the mitzvahs, it extends the essence of Ein Sof. It's not because of the aspect of the person that fulfills the mitzvahs. It's not him that is accomplishing that. It's not the person brings down atzmus, but the mitzvah is the rotzu v'tzivu atzmus, but you don't feel that it's his mitzvah that brings it. But we can say they have bittul through this bittul hunase keli lahaoir shanav nimshach al dei mitzvahs. Through this bittul, he becomes a vehicle, a vessel to the light which extends through the mitzvahs. V'zeu kihineni bo v'shachamti b'soichech. Hine shamshocha dihineni bo. I come hineni ani ba'atzmi kaveyochel. I come, he b'soichech comes inside you, v'shachamti b'soichech, b'pnimius, in the inner. How is that? Because through his bittul, he becomes a keli to the hamshachas of the Eir himself. So, B'tzorich love, we need to understand the kivon she'imi hi ha'avodah de Mesiras Nefesh. Since imi, we said that is, we had mitzvahs, Torah, and imi is avodah Mesiras Nefesh. The Mesiras Nefesh, who inyan habitl, Mesiras Nefesh is the idea of subjugation. Ubefrat lefi amuvali siv base, especially as brought down earlier, siv base, the ha'torah she'itra knesses Yisrael imel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What was the hashpah that the Yid, the Knesses Yisrael, crowned HaKadosh Baruch Hu? They gave the crown hu al yidei she'ikdimu nasi l'nishma. The crown was through being magdim nasi before nishma. Sha'abitul dagdomas nasa nishma. This bittul of saying nasa before nishma, who abitul lebal harotze. That's not to the rotzein, because we don't know yet what is asking. You're just saying nasa. That's a bittul lebal harotze. So malhi ha'maila ba'habitul the biti ala bitul dime. So why is there an advantage of the bittul of biti over the bittul of imi that we're saying? Atzma saying soft comes dafke to the bittul of biti. So we can say about this, bittul dagdom as nasa nishma. This bittul of introducing nasa before nishma, who are bittul about harotzin. That is the bittul to. That's the bittul to the bal harotzin. Shleimer bazeh shabit lagdomes nasa nishma oshi Yisrael kiblu aleim el malchus shemayim. Over there, the Yidden accepted the yoke of the heavenly kingdom. Lochein av shabitul the kabbalah el malchus shemayim. So although this bitl of accepting the heavenly yoke, is not just that they will do that he will do everything that he'll be commanded. Elogam be'etzem mitziusei, but in his entire existence, in all of him, shekol mitziusei hulzeh, so that all of his existence is rak l'kaim tziva Kodesh Baruch Hu, is just to fulfill the command of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I went to the wrong place. That means he's at the level which his entire essence, entity, he's a servant of the king. Melech the King of Kings. That is yet not the highest level of bittul, the level of the since the acceptance of the heavenly yoke comes from the person, he decided, he accepted upon himself to be the servant of the king. So in that bittul is also mixed in the mitzvahs of the person. He accepts the malchus shemayim. Similar, it's also the Mesiras Nefesh that we talk about from the level of Imi. Sham Mesiras Nefesh, he mitzad teva neshama. Over there, the self-sacrifice Mesiras Nefesh comes because that's the nature of the neshama. But the true bittul is shabitlu mitzad haode, not the master. All what it is, the master command master wants to do, not because you accept it upon yourself. And that's why it's a higher degree of bittul, of the level of mitzvahs, more than even the bittul of Mesiras Nefesh. The Bnei Yisrael are my servants. They're my servants that I've taken, my slaves that I've taken out in the land of Egypt. The Yisrael Heim Avodim Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why are Yidden slaves of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Lo rak b'pnei shem kiblo malchus Yisbarach. It's not just because they accepted Hashem's kingdom, His blessed kingdom. Elogam b'pnei sheHaKadosh Baruch Hu hoitzi oisom eretz Mitzrayim. But it's also because the Eibush that takes them out from the lands of Egypt. Shal yidei zeh heim muchrachim liyisavodim. They don't have a choice. They're forced to be slaves. They're slaves because that's what the master makes them into. This higher level of that the Eibush took them out of Mitzrayim, and therefore they're forced into slavery, that mainly comes down Matan Torah. Hey, the bittul, the bittul, so based on this we can explain the advantage of the bittul of biti over the bittul of imi, afsha bitil the biti oil mitzvahs. Although when we talk about the bittul of biti, which is the yoke of mitzvahs, that's talking as it connects to the power of doing. Las is mashan so we're talking just about the action. That's the bittul. But when we talk on the other hand, the bittul of imagdomas, nice nishma, oil malchus shemayim hu be'etzem mitzusik and al sivdala. That's in the essence of a mitzvahs, as we saw earlier in sivdala. Ki ha'oil the Yisrael lekayim es mitzvahs shenitnu b'matan Torah, because the yoke of the Yidden to do the mitzvahs that were given Matan Torah, Matan Torah Osa Kodesh Baruch Hu Yisum La'avodim. Because by Matan Torah, the Eibishter made them into slaves. Amitis HaBittul, the total true bittul, not an acceptance that comes from the Yidden, that comes from the Eibishter. Yesh Neymar, we can say the Zesh Mevur Bekama Mekoimis, that it says in many places, explain the Basu Bechinas Mekabel. That level of bas is a level of recipient. The leis lei mikar klum has nothing of its own. Urak mekabel mashin and neistim lemel mailon, and all what he receives is that what you give him from above. Hakavona bazehi, what the intent is, segam habitul de kabbalas oil, even the bitl kabbalas oil, uloi mishal atzme is not his own choice. Elishim b'matan toida. But rather, the Abish that chose them to be his slaves. So it comes from Milamile, comes from Russia. We can tie this to that which was brought down at the beginning of the Maimer from Torah, the Bas Tzien, Koyal Knesses is called Bizman HaGolus. The Bas Tzien refers to Knesset Yisrael during the time of the exile. The Bas Mizgale Be'iker Ba'avodah Shebizman HaGolus, because that subjugation of the Bas Tzien to that higher level of Bittul is revealed mainly in the service of the time of exile. From as I explained elsewhere, the Bizman HaGolus, the time of exile, especially in the generation of the hills of Mashiach, the obscurity, the blockages are very big. There are such blocks and obstacles, obscurities. The person on his own. Gam al yidei hakabala sel shalisha b'kabel b'ritzayin, also through his accepting the yoke that he accepts willingly. Kivan shu mugbal, since he's limited, ein bichol toy liz gaber aleihem, he has no the ability to rise over them. B'zeh sheYisrael mizgabrim gam al halomis v'hasteirim. Elu, and the fact that the Yidden are also strengthening themselves and winning over these blocks and these obstacles, is because the bittul of their Kabbalah Sel, it's not because it's their mitzias, but mitzad the godliness. Hashem chose them to be his slaves. There's no limitations, so therefore they can overcome even the obstacles that on their own they can't. It's the Eibishter's slaves, so the Eibishter can helps them to overcome all of the obstacles. The Shabbos Parshas Baha'alotcha. Now we understand why the Torah of Shabbos Parshas Baha'alotcha, which is after the time of the Torah given here on Ivsimchim Bas Sion, that it's the song of Simcha of the Bas Sion. Even though that the concept and the advantage of what is the day of the wedding of Matan Torah, Imay is the crown that the mother crowned him. Kitachlis hakavone bahabitul di imay shebechag hashavuos, because the ultimate intention of the bittul of imi that we experience on Shavuos, who shall they should reach to even a higher level of bittul the biti, a level of subjugation of biti of basim. But Adayik Hakosuv and the Pasuk specifically writes, Roni v'simchi bas Sion, the Dorosh Hakim HaMitzvah, Torah Mitzvahs Sion, that fulfilling the Torah Mitzvahs, because Torah Mitzvahs, those are the level of Sion. Tzorich liyes lo rak b'bitl bas, not just in a level of bitl bas, but legam b'simcha. Roni v'simchi bas Sion. The Torah Mitzvah should be with joy. But we need to understand the kasher ha'odam u'b'matzav. When a person is in a situation, he doesn't have a pleasure and a vitality in Torah mitzvahs, and he observes Torah mitzvahs only by accepting the yoke. And even more than that, it's even without his acceptance. We say he comes from Elmaila. We say to him, Shagam hakabala sel shaloi, even his accepting the yoke is loy ba'ifin sharoitzel lekabel all of el malchus shemayim. It's not in a way that he wishes to accept upon himself the yoke of the heavenly kingdom, but v'rak sheni yochel lifrek mimenu el malchus shemayim, and the reason he cannot undo from himself the yoke of the heavenly kingdom is because when Hashem chose the Yidden to be avodim machricha, he said that forces him. So it comes from Elmaila, it's not even his choice. So with such a condition, how could it be running with simchi? And how could you do Torah mitzvahs with simcha? Well, the idea is the yesh oit pirush bebas Sion. There's another interpretation of bas Sion. The Sion heim ha-tzadikim. Sion are the tzadikim. Bas Sion who is kashrus im ha-tzadikim. That's tying yourself with the tzadikim. By day ha is kashrus le ha-tzadikim. By tying yourself to tzadikim. Ubefrat l'nesi Yisrael, especially to the leaders, the princes of Israel, which their ideas, what do they do? What is their mission? Is to draw down godliness, the revelation of the Old Israel, especially those who are tied and are connected to them. This way, it's drawn, given to him the power that his performance of Torah mitzvah should be with joy. To run in simcha. That includes also not should have any distractions from physical matters, nothing to distract him, because he has everything he needs. Also with regards to the children, life and food in a wide way. By connection to the tzaddikim and the leaders of every generation. And what is important to us especially, is tying ourselves to the Rebbe, my father-in-law, the leader of our generations. All obstacles and all blockages will become nullified, which includes also nullifying the obscurity of the exile, and the my father-in-law, the Rebbe, okay, you start saying it will lead us with upright to our land, in the true and complete redemption, Mamesh, very soon.